Introduction to the Smithsonian Institution. The Smithsonian Institution, founded in 1846, is the world's largest museum, education, and research complex. It consists of 21 museums, including the National Museum of American History and the National Air and Space Museum, along with numerous research centers and the National Zoo. The Smithsonian holds over 154 million objects and artifacts, ranging from natural history specimens to priceless works of art and historical documents. Why is it important? As a custodian of American history and culture, the Smithsonian plays a key role in preserving the nation's heritage. Visitors from around the world visit its museums in Washington, D.C., New York, and beyond, with millions of visitors each year. It is more than just a collection of museums. The Smithsonian is an institution dedicated to education, innovation, and discovery. Many of its museums are free to visit, making the knowledge they hold accessible to all, from school children to scholars. Why this fundraiser? The Smithsonian's $2.5 billion fundraiser is a historic event in its own right, marking the largest such campaign the institution has ever launched. But why is this campaign happening now? The timing aligns with the upcoming 250th anniversary of the United States, set to be celebrated in 2026. This landmark occasion represents a significant moment in American history and provides a unique opportunity for the Smithsonian to reflect on the past and look towards the future. The institution aims to not only maintain its current level of excellence, but also expand and innovate to meet the needs of a rapidly changing world. What makes this different from previous fundraising efforts? This is not the first time the Smithsonian has raised funds, but the scale of this campaign is unprecedented. It comes at a time when the institution is looking to address several critical issues, such as the need for modernization, inclusion of underrepresented histories, and expansion into new areas of education and technology. The Smithsonian is already a world leader in many respects, but to stay relevant and forward-thinking, it needs substantial investment. The 4 pillars of the fundraiser. The campaign focuses on 4 key pillars, which represent the institution's broader goals for the future. 1. Opening pathways to new knowledge. One of the Smithsonian's primary goals is to enhance education and research across its vast network. The fundraising campaign is designed to provide more opportunities for learners of all ages. This includes expanding educational programs, creating new digital resources, and increasing accessibility for people around the world. In the digital age, museums are no longer just physical spaces. The Smithsonian is working to digitize more of its collections, making them accessible to a global audience. Virtual tours, online exhibits, and interactive learning tools will help bridge the gap between the Smithsonian's physical locations and those who cannot visit in person. This will be particularly impactful for students, teachers, and researchers around the world. Example of impact. The Smithsonian Learning Lab is a perfect example of how the institution is already using technology to expand access to its resources. This free platform allows teachers, students, and parents to explore the museum's vast collection of images, texts, videos, and audio recordings, and to create customized lessons and activities. 2. Powering creativity and innovation. Another key focus of the campaign is innovation, particularly in how the Smithsonian presents its collections and engages with the public. By using cutting-edge technology, the institution can create immersive and interactive experiences that bring history, science, and culture to life. Virtual reality, VR, exhibits, augmented reality, AR, experiences, and state-of-the-art multimedia displays are just a few examples of how the Smithsonian is transforming its museums for the 21st century. Example of future projects. The National Air and Space Museum is undergoing a major renovation, with a portion of the $2.5 billion campaign directed toward creating new exhibits and interactive spaces. When completed, visitors will be able to experience flight and space travel in new ways, from stepping inside a space shuttle to piloting a plane through VR technology. The Smithsonian also plans to continue its collaborations with innovators, artists, and technology experts to create cutting-edge displays and programs. This will ensure that the institution remains a leader in museum innovation. Advancing sustainability, the Smithsonian is committed to sustainability, not just in terms of environmental responsibility, but also in ensuring the longevity of its collections and buildings. Many of the Smithsonian's historic buildings are in need of renovations to meet modern sustainability standards, and the institution is working to reduce its carbon footprint. The goal is to create a more sustainable future for both the Smithsonian and the planet. By investing in green energy, reducing waste, and using sustainable materials, the Smithsonian is setting an example for other cultural institutions around the world. This effort also includes conserving the priceless objects in the Smithsonian's collection for future generations. Special storage facilities, conservation techniques, and climate-controlled environments are essential to preserving artifacts like the Star-Spangled Banner, spacesuits from NASA missions, and rare fossils. Sustainability in action. The Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture is already a model for sustainable design. The building uses rainwater to irrigate its landscape, and solar panels generate a portion of its energy. The institution's commitment to environmental sustainability will continue to be a priority as it renovates its other museums and builds new ones. Illuminating our nation's past, one of the most important aspects of the Smithsonian's work is telling the story of America from its founding to the present day. The institution is constantly expanding its research and collections to include diverse voices and stories that have historically been underrepresented in mainstream narratives. This includes more in-depth research into Indigenous history, African American history, and the stories of immigrants who have shaped the nation. Expanding exhibits. In recent years, the Smithsonian has opened 2 new museums that focus on underrepresented groups in American history: the National Museum of African American History and Culture and the forthcoming National Museum of the American Latino. These museums are designed to tell the stories of those who have often been left out of traditional history books. The fundraising campaign will help expand these efforts, funding new research projects, exhibitions, and public programs that delve deeper into the complexities of American history. Major contributions and donors. The Smithsonian's fundraising campaign has already seen some significant contributions, with major donors stepping up to help the institution reach its ambitious goals. In 2022, Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, made a historic donation of $200 million, the largest single contribution in the Smithsonian's history. A large portion of this gift is being used to fund the renovation of the National Air and Space Museum, one of the most visited museums in the world. Other key donors. In addition to Bezos, many other individuals, corporations, and foundations have pledged their support. Bank of America, a longtime partner of the Smithsonian, has contributed to various projects, including the digitization of collections and the creation of new educational programs. These donations are crucial in helping the institution reach its fundraising goals and continue its mission of education and preservation. Upcoming museums. National Museum of the American Latino and the Smithsonian American Women's History Museum. As part of its vision for the future, the Smithsonian is planning 2 major new museums: the National Museum of the American Latino and the Smithsonian American Women's History Museum. Both museums will focus on telling the stories of groups that have been historically marginalized, highlighting their contributions to American society and culture. National Museum of the American Latino. The Latino Museum, currently in development, will be dedicated to exploring the rich history and cultural heritage of Latino communities in the United States. From the early Spanish colonization of the Americas to the modern contributions of Latino artists, activists, and entrepreneurs, this museum will offer an in-depth look at the Latino experience in the U.S. Smithsonian American Women's History Museum. Similarly, the Smithsonian American Women's History Museum will celebrate the achievements of women throughout American history. From the suffrage movement to women's contributions to science, art, politics, and more, this museum will fill a critical gap in the Smithsonian's collection and storytelling. Both museums are expected to raise around $200 million each as part of the overall fundraising campaign. These new institutions will not only expand the Smithsonian's footprint, but also create spaces dedicated to telling the stories that have too often been left out of the historical narrative. The impact of this fundraiser on future generations, the $2.5 billion campaign, isn't just about keeping the Smithsonian running. It's about ensuring that future generations have access to the same, if not better, educational and cultural resources. By funding research, exhibitions, and digital programs, the Smithsonian is making sure that it continues to be a vital source of knowledge and inspiration for decades to come. As we approach the 250th anniversary of the United States, this fundraiser is an investment in the country's future. The stories, artifacts, and ideas preserved by the Smithsonian are essential to understanding where we've been, where we are, and where we're going as a nation. Conclusion: how you can get involved with the Smithsonian's campaign is a call to action for everyone, from history buffs to art lovers to those who simply believe in the power of education. Whether through donations, volunteering, or simply spreading the word, there are many ways to support this historic effort. The Smithsonian's future depends on the support of people like you. Together, we can ensure that the stories and knowledge preserved by this institution continue to inspire and educate for generations to come.